Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. Now, here are your hosts, Lady Alba and Lord Night.
So, Lord Night, we're not gonna talk politics.
We're not.
We're gonna make that very clear. No politics. But we do want to talk about post-election and what I can only call pagan passion.
Yes. All right.
There's some stuff going on.
All right. And now again, just like you, I'm not going to sit here and fault anyone for having their emotions and feeling them.
No, right? Feel them. Feel your feelings.
Yes. All right. But this seems to be a little bit more upsetting than most what in the world's going on. And I think this is starting to get into the territory of making decisions after people die, after big events, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah. People are highly, highly emotional, and people have very strong opinions, and that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the news and what we're seeing and the trends are startling, right? People are committing acts of crime. Violence. People are disowning, ignoring, or distancing themselves from family. The biggest thing that's important in all of this for people to remember is, while yes, it may result in some difficult situations in the coming months or years, two things I think are critical. The first is it's temporary.
Yes.
Because everything's temporary. Nothing's permanent. Nothing lasts forever. So
the pendulum will swing again.
Yes. The other is the emotional distress. There has to be a point where, instead of continuing to fan the flame of what ifs,
right,
and the what could happen, we have to stop and like right now, right this second, where are we? You and I are sitting in a chair. Not a chair, two chairs. We're not in the same chair, folks. We're sitting in chairs. We are in your house. We are in front of these microphones. We are having a conversation. I have coffee. You're in your PJs. Like, that is our reality right now.
Yes.
Is anything burning?
No.
Right. Is there smoke?
No smoke, no nothing.
Yeah.
This again, everybody's working themselves over ruminism.
Ruminating, yeah, absolutely.
And you're going to drive yourself insane that way.
Yes, and people do. That's the problem. So being in the moment, being mindful, right, which is something that we preach an awful lot in craft.
Exactly.
Being mindful, being in the moment is about stopping and taking stock of literally, where are you? What is happening right this second? Like right this second, I just glanced out the window and saw a big fat blue jay land on a branch. That's where I am right this moment.
What else matters?
Well, it's not so much a what else matters. It's I'm okay.
Yes.
My civil liberties are not in danger right this moment. No one is threatening me. No one is coming for me.
Nope.
No one is, right? There is no threat in my world. And it's stopping to recognize that while, yes, there may be something that happens in the future, it's not right now.
No.
And so a lot of these ideas of what a new administration might do, could do, it's getting to be a little wacky, right? We've got to stop and take stock of what is and what isn't. I know that people are scared. I know that there are concerns. Me personally, I have friends right now who are literally talking about fleeing the country. And I'm going, why?
Well, I mean, I keep on hearing people divorcing their spouse over this. Again, let's take a moment, calm down. You're going to ruin your whole life because you have.
And that's it. It's you're potentially blowing up your life, literally, figuratively, whatever it might be, over something that's a maybe. there's something about it that's akin to like a big stock market crash.
Yeah.
And when people panic and, freak out. But I just don't feel like in this exact moment, anyone is really having a specific effect. I don't know. Look, I have, like I said, I have some friends, multiple sets of friends, families who are really talking about, leaving, passports ready, looking into getting visas, all this stuff. One of these families, they have 2 trans children. And this is their big fear, right? Our children aren't safe. But I'm like, is that really true?
Is it?
I don't know. I think that what has happened is some of this is potentially opening the door for it to be okay, all right, I'm quoting in quotes, to marginalize that group further and to, I hate to say it, but to bully them, to be mean. People in the conservative parties right now might feel empowered to be assholes, ultimately. But
I hate to be this way. If you flip the coin, couldn't the same thing be said about the other side?
Of course it could. But I don't know. There's so much here that I think it's sticky, right? It's sticky, and it's not. Look, it's not good. It's not fun. It's not. Nobody's happy with this. I don't think. Other than a select group, but we still have to be realistic about what is going on. Where are we? What's really happening? And in this moment, I saw it all. And witches are interesting because every political election, every major, right, I see they start holding vigils. They start, right, we've seen
I've seen more
rituals.
things about spells being cast on.
Oh, absolutely.
And all this.
I'm burning my candles and, circles are being, and oh boy. You're trying to turn a tidal wave.
Right. Because this brings up an interesting thing. When we are talking about magic and spirituality, when do we give up the ghost? We rarely, especially in the pagan community, and we rarely want to tell people, no, that's just not you, or we want to encourage people to keep on trying. But at some point, you're right. I'm never going to become a rock star. All right, I am never going to become a scientist. All right, are you with me? There are just things that people have to realize that they can't do. But when do you do that? When do you actually say, okay, this is the time to give up on this. This is the time to let go.
I think there's the difference. It's letting go and giving up are 2 different things. Letting go is acceptance.
Okay.
Letting go is saying, this is beyond my control. This is beyond, right? This is the serenity. God grant me the ability to recognize the things that I can change, those that I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference, right?
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, where is that line?
But there it is. But that's it. At the end of the day, what can we control? Sure, let's go through it.
All right.
We control our thoughts,
right?
Our actions,
our
environment. In the sense of, if I do not like my environment, I can leave it.
Right.
Right. I can choose.
We can choose it. If I'm cold, I can turn on the heat.
Right. I can, or literally, I can physically change my location.
Exactly.
Right? We can change how we react
to things.
Yes. But there's loads of things that we can't change. As a matter of fact, there are countless memes about this. I'm gonna look this up really fast because it's funny. I almost bought this. It's a little, not for myself, but because this is that common right now. There's all these little trinkets on the market that kind of, here you go, things you can control. Here's a great one. When you ask for help, what you eat, the boundaries you set, who you follow, how you speak to yourself, your sleeping routine, okay?
Right.
And then it's things like how I challenge myself, right? How I handle myself, how I set goals. Okay, things out of my control, the actions of others. Oh, here's a good one. The past. That gave me a little, I think I got gut checked on that one. The outcome of my efforts, the future, how others take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's another one that's really good. How other people think of me.
This is actually, I think this is a whole lot simpler to break this up.
Hold on. The opinions of others. I mean, but I think this is important. You're right. It can be simplified. Of course it can.
You can control yourself. You cannot control others. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. But that's just it. We're given a false sense of what we can achieve. We're given this weird false sense of what we can do, right? So we have a democracy in this country, right? Democracy, the idea of voting, it gives us a false sense of what we can influence and what we can change. Is it important? Yes. Can we influence? But it's not influence. It is having a say.
Right.
That's what a vote does. It has given you an opportunity to have a say. It does not mean that you yourself are influencing
anything.
Kinda, yeah. There's a false notion in modern man of, yes, that we can change, we can do, like, all of these things that we're supposed to be able to do or change or affect. I'm like, not really.
I mean, the majority of the times, especially when you get into the realm of science, we're barely hanging on to the tiger's tail in this scenario.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of forces and stuff in this world we're messing with. We're not quite sure what we're doing. It's
funny you say that. There's a really great article that I've been wanting us to dive into for a while now. If I can find it, I'm going to try. It was an article that talks about how we do not have free will.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It was really, really interesting.
Now, is this the one where it basically comes down to, because you're influenced by your parents and them raising you, that you're technically part of their personality and not your own?
The crux of this, if I can sum it up, right? I'm going to try to do my best to sum it up. But this was a Washington Post article, and I'm sure you guys can look it up. There was one scientist sort of heading up the movement, but others have kind of joined on to believe this. It basically is the culmination of everything in your life, not just your parents, everything you've been exposed to, everything you've learned, everything you've witnessed.
It's back to the concept, you are the sums of your experience.
Yeah, you are the sum of your parts, exactly. And as a result of that, we do not have free will. We think we do, but all of those things have predetermined and have mapped our decision making and how we will go about them. And science it's almost mathematics, right? We've been able to computate how someone will react or respond and the decisions that they will make based on those factors.
Again, Facebook knows when you go poop.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. There's so much data about us that is predictable, and that's the thing. Pagans often don't like that. We still want to believe so strongly in the mysticism. We still want to hold so strongly to the idea that magic is
random,
awe-inspiring, but it's not that random. No. And therein lies the problem. So it really is. It's for me, it's interesting to sit back and watch this. And I remember, going back many elections when George Bush Jr. got elected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a similar thing. And I mean, we were crying. People were so upset.
But we're still here. Yeah. And again, I understand normalcy bias.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll admit, I'm probably one of the first people that has it the most because I don't think anything's really going to happen. I don't think it's what everybody's hyping it up to be. I don't think we're going to have military marches down the middle of Main Street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I go broader than that. I go, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I'll deal with it as it comes.
Speculating on everything that could go wrong.
Because at the end of the day, I stop and I go, okay, I still have to get up. I still have to pay my bills. I still have to
feed myself.
Right. I still have to feed my animals.
Mm-hmm.
I still have to do my job. I still have to, I have to function.
Exactly.
How much of my energy, my effort, my brain power am I going to give away
to this
that is going to prevent me from doing the other things that I need to do? My dog doesn't give a crap who the president is.
No.
He's like, could you put some kibble in the bowl, please? I'm hungry now.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen your dogs.
Yeah.
Your dogs look at them and go, it puts the kibbles in the bowl or it gets the hose again.
Yes. Or, well, in my case, it gets the snarfles, which basically means they sneeze and snot all over me. They don't care. I mean, and that's because that is the way of nature. It doesn't care.
So we need, and again, we always preach, we are supposed to be more like nature.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to see the seas ebb and flow. So does everything else.
Mm-hmm.
We understand this pattern. I don't understand why there are so many people getting so upset. Go back to our teachings. There's ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
There are cycles. I'm sorry, this is just another cycle.
Well, it's not any different than what, again, connecting it to North Carolina right now, the catastrophe in the mountains, the floods, all. Is it horrible? Yes. I mean, are people suffering? Yes. But was it preventable? No. And was it necessary? She thought so.
And you know what? Arguing with her is a very dangerous thing.
That's my thing. I mean, look, there was an interesting sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, a ruckus.
Yeah.
That took place because, I'm part of a bunch of rock hounding groups and all my friends in the rock community. So very specifically, when the town of Chimney Rock was washed out, Chimney Rock on Main Street had 2 very prolific gem shops.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were the same owner, but there was one on each side of the street sort of thing. Someone made the comment, well, maybe we should all take a trip down through the Lake Lure Basin to start sifting for some of the rocks, gems, jewelry that is probably in the river now. Oh boy, people lost their mind. How dare you? How could you say that? People lost their homes and their life. And I'm going, yeah, but they're right. I mean, it's not going to change anything.
No. Somebody
deciding to take some dig tools and go sifting around in some mud, if they find some rocks, good for, I mean, look, what they do with those rocks, if they find them, that's up to them. Could they choose to try to return it to the shop owner? Sure. But it's not going to change the outcome of what's already happened.
No.
So what does it matter?
And it's this whole entire thing, the whole entire getting revenge on somebody that's killed someone you loved. It doesn't bring the other person back.
No. And it's interesting because I've sort of thought this forward in a strange way. And then I went, it's very likely that many hundreds of years from now, that site, that area, right where a place like Chimney Rock sat, it's going to be excavated. It's going to be, right, architects or archaeologists might be there, architects, right? Buildings are going to, and people are going to find these remnants and go, oh, there was a really disastrous flood here.
Something happened.
Yeah, and this is what's left, right? These are and this could, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm going, it's like a small scale Pompeii, right?
Right.
But now with all of our records, with all of our data, with all of our information sharing, it's unlikely that this flood will be lost
forever.
To time, right? People are going to know. The record will be there.
I mean, it's not like we lose civilizations.
Exactly. Well, we have.
Well, you know what I'm saying. It's not like we
not
misplaced
now.
it.
Not now. Not in today's world, anyway.
No.
Something extremely catastrophic would have to happen for that to take
Right.
place. That would be global destruction. But you just kind of stop and go, we don't live in those times anymore where it is going to be some great archaeological discovery of, the great North Carolina flood of 2024. No. So, go dig in the mud. Why not?
What?
There's really no reason not
to.
It's a salvage mission at that point. So, I don't know, but we see this a lot. And something that I think we talk a lot about ego too, right? We talk about how ego is a huge deterrent to our own personal power and understanding of craft.
Right.
It is also the thing that fuels many of these modern beliefs. It really does. It's setting it aside to realize how small we are,
right,
in the grand scheme, because that's the problem. That ego will tell us that to do these big magnificent things or to continue a fight that doesn't need to be fought. Not like this. The fight is continue to support your community, continue to fight for laws and legislation that change things the way you want them to be, continue to participate.
I think people make more of an effort just living the way that they, doing those, remember the TV show, what is that, If It Was You, where they do the one I remember was they had a guy show up and he pretended like he couldn't read. And then the woman behind the counter went off on him to see what the customers would do. What was that show? What would you do?
I think that was the name of it, yeah.
And I love that show. Because those who did right, that's what changes society. When you see it in practice.
Yeah. It really can be that simple to sort of go, it's the small things that add up collectively that we all do, but do them from a place of love, from peace, from compassion, not from this place of anger and fury and upset and almost, that manic energy.
Well, and you can't do it from a place of I'm better than everybody else. All right? You cannot sit there and do these things and look down your nose at these people at the same time.
No, because that's where all these tensions come from. I mean, we're going to look, Thanksgiving is on the horizon, and the reality is there's a lot of fractured families right now.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who will not be having pumpkin pie together. And regardless of what you think of the holiday itself or its origins, right? Its modern connection is what? It's friends and family. That's it.
We want you to come together. We need this as a society.
Yeah, like this is the time to maybe not put it aside, but be civil and recognize it. It's not the end. I mean, and I think about that and I go, to me, regret is far worse than those temporary, those minute actions in the immediate, right?
Right.
I don't go to Thanksgiving this year because I'm mad at my aunt and uncle because they're, and I have all these, strong opinions about their political. Well, you know what? Okay. They get into a car wreck in a year and pass away. That regret's going to suck.
Yes.
Yeah. And that you cannot change at all. But willing yourself to have a civil conversation, encounter, to choose to put politics aside, that's craft. I mean,
exactly.
that's what we do every single day. I mean, we get together all the time. How many conversations about politics have you and I squashed?
Oh God.
Yeah. And sometimes...
But no. To make it even worse, I think this is the second conversation me and you ever had that come this close to politics. Mm-hmm. And even then, we're both sitting here quite uncomfortable with each other.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, to some extent, it's funny. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what some of my friends think. I don't want to know where some of their political beliefs lie. There's a part of me that wants to go, my spirit loves your spirit. And I don't want anything to tarnish that. I don't want the constructs of man to come in and mess with that.
I'm going to say this. Okay. I do not want this to affect the way I see my high priestess as she stands there and does ritual and makes me want to weep.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's that's more damn important to me than anything else.
Well, but it's, that's an interesting way to put it, because we also talk about how when people feel like they're losing connection to deity, I don't care what religion you practice, right? When people have a crisis of faith, or they feel that they are being pulled away from God, well, more often than not, that crisis of faith comes from something on the mundane sphere that has taken place. It's a scandal. It's information that, yes, alters us irrevocably, whatever.
You might want to think I'm wrong with it, but it's sort of like a virus. There's just something in the making that comes in here and it just freaking kills all your spirituality and pulls you completely out of your religion.
Yes, but we're also in a time, we're in an era where everyone thinks they're a sleuth or a snoop, or like it's our job. It's our job to find it, to hunt it out, to expose it.
Everybody has become Mrs. Kravitz sticking their note.
That's funny. Yeah.
I mean,
TMZ, right? Everybody thinks that that's their job. And I'm like, that's a horrible
way of doing.
So just a terrible way to live. It's like you're purposefully seeking out the worst instead of choosing to find the best. Blech.
Again, it's that, and I say it a lot. And I guess I'm going to have to use myself as an example because that's like the safest for me. All right. Back in the day, back when I was younger, going to go get a job. You go get a job. I'd go apply for a job and you get turned down. Yes, I will admit there is part of your brain that sits there and goes, was it because I was dyslexic? Was it because I was gay? But I don't see a lot of people want to sit on that instead of going, well, I just wasn't qualified for this job, or somebody else was more qualified.
Sure. That is human nature.
Right.
It's also human nature, though, to kind of go into that, I'll never get a job, I'll never get hired, and you go, wait a second. No. That, it's a defeatist attitude. And that's what we have to combat. And it's the same thing. This is not defeat. This is a moment in time, and in the grand scheme, it's not going to matter all that much.
Okay, there is a main concept in craft that we must go through darkness before we can enjoy the light. All right, which means we have to go through tough and hard times. But
cyclically, they always happen.
Yes.
If we've been in a period where things are great for a long, guess what? It's coming.
It's coming.
I mean,
they sit there pretending like it ain't is just not paying attention to what's going on.
No. And there is I know you're a Star Trek fan too, but I remember, I can't remember which one of the different, franchises of Star Trek it was, but it was a whole thing about how, they don't have money anymore. Right. The society has transcended, all of these things that you hear about and you go, gosh, it's so idyllic, but it's also like they present it like a utopian society, It doesn't exist. There's
No.
always going to be an ebb and a flow. There has to be.
No, I agree with you.
So otherwise, I kind of get a giggle and I go, where are the skeletons in the closet? Because that society's got some skeletons, man. And they tried to bury them real deep. What did it cost to get to that point?
Yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, what we can tell most people is take a breath, sit down.
Yeah. Be in the moment.
Be in the moment. All right.
Be in the moment with us, sitting in our pajamas.
All right. Forget about everything else for a little while.
Yeah. Look out the window.
Watch grass grow.
Yep. Be still.
The word men used to tell us all the time, all the mysteries of the universe can be found in a single blade of grass.
It's true.
All right. I think I need some coffee.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning